keeping me up late at night. And certainly with the trading deadline coming, we're trying to wonder not just who the Orioles are going to be targeting, but who all the competitors, including the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, who may have more talent at the minor league level. This guy's covering one of those teams where it's been a bit of a lost season. We're familiar with that here in Baltimore. We had 14 in a row. He is Jeff Fletcher. He covers all things baseball at the Orange County Register, which is one of the places I wanted to cover baseball back in the 1980s when, I liked Southern California and thought the girls were pretty and the baseball weather would be better. But certainly bad baseball being played there. You can follow Jeff's journey out on Twitter at Jeff Fletcher OCR and on the Angels beat. Man, you had some good times on the Angels beat early on, right? But I could not have predicted that it could go this badly this quickly, right?
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the year, even if you kind of looked at the sort of most expected scenario, they were not that great of a team. They were probably 82 to 84 win team. And then when you have 5 starting pitchers going to DL, that pretty much knocks you down pretty quickly. And, right now they're looking more like a 70 to 75 win team if they get a little better even.
I mean, is it just as simple as when your pitchers get hurt? And it was a long period of time last year where the Rangers stunk because their pitchers were hurt, and then they surged. I don't think any team could sustain that, and certainly it just, blows apart any plans you had in the offseason. I mean, the Orioles have had enough problems with guys not getting hurt, but just stinking, quite frankly, and they're a first-place team right now.
Yeah, it's the Angels basically had too many guys get hurt. They didn't have enough people to replace them. And, you mentioned the Rangers last year. The Rangers had a great farm system, so they were able to make trades to improve their bullpen. They got Cole Hamels. The Angels are in no way in position to do that. They really have a really bad farm system, so they can't even go outside to get help. So they're pretty much a rudderless ship right now.
Well, I know there were problems last year. I did 30 ballparks in 30 days, and I was in Anaheim on an afternoon day game against the Yankees, and I was Ken Rosenthal's assistant 30 years ago at the Evening Sun back when we were both kids, and I walked in, and there's Rosenthal, and it's almost like seeing 60 Minutes show up. I'm checking my Twitter, and Socha and DePoto aren't getting along, and bad things are happening, and I think for a beat writer like you, probably a memorable day there as well, but kind of all hell broke loose after that, and with the farm system being under attack or without it being bereft of talent, I mean, what does that say about DePoto? What does it say about the organization and where Socha is? Because I would say, he's probably the next guy that's going to come under the microscope in all this mess, right?
Well, certainly a lot of fans are fed up with Mike Socha and would like to get rid of him because I think that's probably any team that's not playing well, the fans want to fire the manager. I think that is sort of a universal baseball thing. No matter how good of a manager that guy's been, no matter how good his career's been, no matter what other circumstances have made that team bad that are out of the manager's control, fans still want to fire the manager, and that's no different here. But I really don't think that's going to happen because he's got 2 more years left on his contract. He makes a lot of money. Artie Moreno seems to really like him. And besides that, I mean, the reason they're not good is because they've had so many injuries, and their farm system is not good enough to make up for the injuries. So none of that is Mike Socha's fault. So I really don't think that he will get the blame or should get the blame, but that doesn't stop people from wanting to talk about it.
Well, I mean, I've always seen him as one of the best managers. He's probably going to the Hall of Very, Very Good if they could put together another, World Series run, that kind of team. And certainly the years for Trout. And we have Machado here. It seems like a lot of teams have these young marquee player they're trying to build around. It feels like a little bit of a waste of his talents toiling in last place at this point. But they've never been shy about spending money, and they've never been shy about the off seasons and trying to improve. What is the improvement plan there when you don't have the talent at the minor league level to get back to being decent next year?
Well, I think that their plan A is that 2 of their injured pitchers right now, Garrett Richards and Andrew Heaney, who are their top 2 pitchers going into the year, that they are both healthy enough and can pitch next year. That makes you probably 5 or 10 games better right off the bat. Beyond that, they do need to get some production from some of the guys that they've developed in their farm system. It's hard to really say who looks like they're going to be that guy, but they have a guy, Cole Calhoun, who's become a really good right fielder who nobody really thought much of as a prospect. So they need to dig up some more of those kind of guys and maybe get lucky with somebody that doesn't really project that well but can play. That's what they need, and they probably do need to spend some more money. They're going to be losing some money off of their payroll this year. Jared Weaver's contract is going to be up. C.J. Wilson's contract is going to be up. Josh Hamilton has only one more year left, 2017. So once you start to get rid of those things, then you can start spending more money. By then, hopefully, their farm system will have been improved from the draft and finding guys in other organizations. And I think that's their hope. They probably, if Richards and Heaney can come back next year and be healthy, which is a big question mark because they may both be having Tommy John surgery. But if they can come back, then they can definitely be competitive next year. Not great, but competitive. And then you can kind of start to try to build more, towards, 2018, 2019.
Jeff Fletcher's out in Anaheim covering all things Angels as their beat writer at the Orange County Register. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at Jeff Fletcher OCR. Pujols doesn't come under, he's like sort of under radar for what he is. I was out in St. Louis with a Rams-Ravens game the last weekend Pujols played out there, and, Keep Albert in St. Louis, and he takes the money, he goes out and plays. It's almost a textbook for what can go wrong when you go into the market with that kind of money. And I know here we're trying to find money for Machado. In the offseason, it was all about Chris Davis and the owner. A lot of the money deferred, but still ponied up in a way that he had never ponied up before. The Pujols experiment does get held up every offseason when someone wants to give someone that kind of money in free agency.
Yeah, there's no question. It's the reason you can't really build your team through free agency because by definition, guys don't get to be free agents till they're 28, 29, 30 years old. And that's just, biologically speaking, your worst years are ahead of you. So you're paying for what the guy already did, not for what he's going to do. And the longer years you pay out there, the more bad years you're going to get at the end. And I don't think that the day the Angels signed Albert Pujols to that 10-year contract, they knew at the end of that contract he's not going to be anywhere near worth it. But hopefully, just by getting him, we'll win something big, at the beginning of that contract, and it'll make it worthwhile to eat it at the end. Well, that hasn't happened, and now it's just looking like it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And it is an albatross on the rest of the payroll because they can't move this huge chunk of money that's sitting there. And I think it's just kind of something that they are stuck with.
Jeff, I guess it's sort of set the standard for what the Trouts and the Harpers and the Machados and the Stantons, what kind of deal it's going to take to keep them off of the market, right? And we're all scratching our head wondering here with Machado, what would it take to sign him and what would the team be willing to do? You see the Strasburg situation now with the Nationals where, the minute the money gets spent and the player gets hurt, it's a whole different game. But the Angels clearly have a guy, and a guy who's going to be there for a while. That they're always going to have that going for them. They're always going to have a great player.
Yeah, Mike Trout is obviously the best player in baseball, and he's still only 24 years old, and they've got people say the Angels are wasting Mike Trout's prime. Well, Mike Trout's prime has got 6 more years left in it, so they can be bad for this year and maybe even next year, and still have 2 more years, even under his current contract, to be good again under Mike Trout, and then you've got, some time to try to re-sign him beyond that. So, I wouldn't necessarily say they're wasting it, but certainly this year is being wasted.
All right, for the AL West, and we're going to see a bunch of these teams coming up now as the first-place Baltimore Orioles. Jeff, I haven't had a chance to say first-place Baltimore Orioles too much here over 25 years of doing radio, so I'm going to say it a lot while they're still in first place. Kind of shocked Texas has been this good, right? You're talking about a team that did something at the trading deadline last year that most people scoffed at and said, well, that's a build for the future. Then they go on the tear and the rampage that, quite frankly, hasn't stopped. Meanwhile, the Astros stopped playing baseball for a month or two and now look like they've rebounded. The division's shaped up nicely, but it really shapes up that Texas is running away, and I'm kind of shocked by that.
Yeah, I am also. I thought the Astros were the best team in the league on paper before the season started, and they are now, for the last 6 weeks or so, finally playing that way. The question is, did they dig themselves too deep of a hole at the beginning? As for the Rangers, I was a little skeptical of them because, some of their starting pitching beyond Cole Hamels really looked questionable to me. Colby Lewis has always been sort of an up-and-down guy, and Derek Holland has never been, a real ace-type guy, and Yu Darvish was coming back from Tommy John surgery, and Matt Harrison was hurt, all the time, and you just didn't know what they were going to be starting rotation-wise, but they still managed to do it, and I'm really impressed that they have, and they do have a pretty big lead. I still would not be shocked if the Astros run them down, because like I said on paper, I thought the Astros were a better team to begin with, so they've got another 90 games or so to try to catch them.
Hey, man, it's great having you on the program. I know we will see the Angels here very, very shortly. Hey, at least you're in Southern California watching bad baseball, bro. You know. By the way, I did 30 ballparks in 30 days last year. First off, it's appalling where they stick the media in that stadium. So let me say that first off. Secondly, it was one of the stadiums that I had never been in since they remodeled it. I was there for an Angels game maybe in like 1987, back when it was still the Big A and the Rams were playing there and all that stuff. I was kind of shocked at how not nice that stadium is. And I thought that, when Disney got a hold of it and on television, those rocks, but the actual facade of the stadium and the outside, it's really nothing special. I was kind of blown away by how underwhelmed I was and disappointed I was in the stadium.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not like a bad ballpark that people talk about, like Oakland or Tampa or one of those. It's just kind of gotten old and by attrition moved down the list because so many really nice new ballparks have come up and pushed it down. So it's probably, if you were ranking them 1 to 30, it's probably like 25 or 26 right now. And it's not like a horrible stadium that you think of. It's just there's nothing really good about it.
Jeff, I don't want to be mean, but I called it number 30. And honestly, look, I know how bad Tampa and Oakland. I've been to all these ballparks. I kind of find Tampa to be sort of weirdly charming inside of a dome because there aren't many of them left. I don't like the Sky Dome. I put that one ahead of the Sky Dome, by the way, which I think is, sort of a bit of a morgue, and it was until last year when they started to win and actually put some people in there, and I think Toronto's wonderful as well. And Oakland, dude, I'm old school, right? So I grew up in Memorial Stadium in a complete dump. That's the last dump that you can go to where they still have bugs in the bathrooms, where you're afraid to eat any of the concessions, and you're pretty close to the action for being far away because it's not built 5 levels high or whatever. But, I like the Oakland experience, and I'm appreciating that dump because they're not going to be there forever. At some point, we're not going to have dumps to go to and watch Major League Baseball anymore.
Yeah, well, hopefully we won't.
well, hopefully they move your seats back behind home plate, man. That's all I can say out there. I liked Artie Moreno till I saw those seats. Hey, man, it's great having you on. We'll check in with you again later on in the summer. And I guess the trading deadline's coming. That'll be the big story in your part of the world, right?
Probably.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you.
You got it. Jeff Fletcher joining us here out in Anaheim, covering all things Angels as the beat writer for the Orange County Register. And he's going to watch some bad baseball and probably see the Escobar trading rumors heat up. You can find me out in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear there. The morning newspaper hits your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. It is powered up by our friends at Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. There's one right around the corner to get you in shape, and it's still $10 a month. Probably the best deal in the world there at PlanetFitness.com. Last but never least, breaking news happens first on the WNST Tech Service. That is powered up by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, including when the Orioles have their ups and downs and calling up their McFarlands and sending down relief pitchers, and I'm sure that will be going on throughout this West Coast trip where we're staying up late watching baseball. Dennis will be here on Thursday driving you home from 3 until 5 as well. We are WNST.net AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
Have a great week. Bye-bye. What did you lock in here? What did you lock in here? Oh, you just came in. You look like you took something out.
I did take something out.
Oh, okay.
Why would you say, did you lock something in here?
Well, that you felt like you couldn't. You waited for me to break to come and get it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I'm polite like that.
I appreciate that. You came busting in here. I think you have big news for me or something. By the way, man, last night